Welcome to Mrs. Peach Thrifty Living. I'm so happy you're here today. Today is another episode of A Glimpse in My Life. Before I get started, I want to mention two or three things because so many times I look and it looks by the end of the video, so many times there's hardly anybody watching. So I don't know. I hope you'll stay around to the end of this. First off, let me mention this because it's different. In my last video, I also mentioned Nanny and the Moose. I was watching her, she's 85, 6, 7, somewhere in that neighborhood of age. And she has a beautiful YouTube channel. And I watch her faithfully and enjoy her very much. And she was showing how she used scarves. And I was thinking, I got so many scarves in there. I think I'll just try that. Well, mine might not look quite as good as hers did. And I tried to get something that would match the color of what I was wearing. I'm just going to go ahead and say this up front. If you subscribe, like, comment, and share, as I always do. And if you know somebody that would like this content, please let them know also. And come back every day. I have something every day. You can just go look at my playlist. Go just scroll down my videos and scroll down my shorts. I have lots of fun shorts. Without further ado, let's get started. And I'm still writing in this book. I always write in pencil. I'm writing, I'm thinking fast. And of course, sometimes my writing is not quite up to par. When I left you last time on this A Glimpse of My Life, and I do hope you'll go back and watch this if you haven't, and you can catch up with where we are along in the story. Last time I told you about us getting to the hospital for Richard's kidney transplant. A few problems in getting there, but God intervened and we got there. Somewhere not too long after this time, and I don't know that I wrote in my little day planner calendar. It's one you carry in your purse. It has little squares in it that you can write a doctor's appointment or whatever in. I had jotted down a little note of what happened each day while Richard was there with getting his kidney transplant. That's where I took my information from, because I can't even tell you what I ate 3 days ago or 1 day ago. Well, I can yesterday because I did the tomato casserole, and it's on YouTube too, and it was so good. When we pulled into the parking garage and parked the car. It was there the whole time. I did not move the car. It was not quite a week, but it was close to a week. Whatever was in the car, and I'd planned ahead. I knew that I would be sleeping there. I didn't know how and where. I didn't think I wanted to sleep in my car, in the garage. I didn't think that would be very safe. But I had a little pillow and a blanket and a laptop and all the things I thought I might need, some extra clothing and everything packed in the car. And in my bag, I could switch back and forth and carry whatever I needed to into the hospital. They took Richard right back when we got inside, and I had to wait for a while in the waiting room or whatever, and just waited around while they got him prepared for the surgery. Remember, they already had the kidney there, and it was waiting for him. When they got him all completely ready, then they let me come and sit with him until they called him back. And it's really a really weird, eerie feeling to see your loved one leave you, and you don't know exactly how the results is going to be, whether they're going to come back totally whole, with the surgery a success, or whether it won't be. You just don't know. So of course, we had a lot of people praying for us. And as I told you in my last video, my son had already moved down to Southern California. He wasn't there. And this was 2 or 3 hours away from our home, 2 hours, I think, of, the city of San Francisco. So it was just me being there. We had friends, and if we would have been closer, I'm sure they would have come and been with me. But I didn't encourage anybody to come and try to be with me there. I knew God was with me too. It was about 7:30 in the evening when they brought him back out of surgery and into the ICU. And I was able to go in and sit with him for a few minutes. Right after they have that kind of surgery, the nurses and doctors, there's people monitoring them every minute. That it was a success, and as time was going by and all the waiting I did, I would wander around the hospital, walk around here and there, and I was getting to know my way around there. Also, I want to say I always was nervous riding in an elevator. I got pretty good at it. I still don't like riding in an elevator, but I do it. So the first night after I had to go out of the room, I had my things with me. When it got late, and I went to the main lobby of the hospital, and there was somebody at the desk, and of course there's watchmen that walked around, and I let them know that I was there. I had my little blanket and my pillow, and I kind of stretched out on one of those couches, and I slept a little bit. I can't tell you, it was wonderful sleep. You know, there was people right outside the hospital walking by. You could hear the noises there. Of course, the door was locked. It is a weird feeling to be there. And of course, no, your husband is up and you can't be with. On the second day, they thought he might need to have dialysis. Sometimes, and I don't know whether it's many times or sometimes, they see if the kidney took completely or if you would need to be on dialysis to begin with. So they put him in a private room. And that night they brought a cot in for me to sleep on. So that was nice. Then again, sleeping on a cot's not very comfortable. And of course the doctors or nurses in there checking him throughout the time. I look back at my time, and he was 69 years old at that time when he had his transplant. I mentioned I brought my laptop in. I don't think we had the cell phones like we do now, that I communicated and did all the things on my cell phone that I do now. I had one of those flip-top phones at that time, and you only got the call. I don't even know whether you texted on it. I guess I did. I knew ahead of time that I was going to have a lot of spare time on my hands, so I had things to read, and I would go for walks, and I had my laptop. I don't remember whether I got online, and I must have been able to get on some kind of line because I didn't have the service to use it without. I don't remember whether I brought any snacks or not, but many times, you know, they would bring Richard food in, and he couldn't eat hardly any of it. And so I'm sure I probably ate some of his food, but I always made sure, please eat all you can and try to, because I could go, and I did go to the cafeteria at times and get something to eat. That worked out very well that way. On Saturday morning, I ventured out of the hospital after I visited with Richard for a little while. You know, he needed a lot of naps and rest at that time. And I walked around right down the hill. The first street that I came to was a main street of town that they had restaurants and little shops and all that. So I wandered around there for a little while, and I ate at a little restaurant. Got a little bite of something to eat there. That night, I was back to sleeping in the lobby again because they decided he didn't need dialysis, and they moved him to a double room where he had a roommate. Then again, sleep was not the best thing in my list, but I did get enough that I was still carrying on and making it fine. In the meantime, you know, when you're sitting in the waiting rooms and walking around, you get to know other people that's there with their loved ones. And I got to know a lady that told me how she did it. She'd been there many times with her, I don't remember whether it was her child or her husband. I think it was her husband. Like I said, she'd been there many times. So she had gotten to know how to get around, and she found this motor motel, I think is what they call it, where she would take a taxi and go and have a good night's sleep once in a while. She told me exactly how she did it. I don't know, she gave me the phone number. And that next night, I decided I needed to get some extra rest. So that might have been my second time to ever ride in a taxi. I'm in Kansas City. I remember riding in it, but I think I had my kids with me at that time. I took the taxi to the Motor Lodge. That's what it's called, Motor Lodge. And had gotten a room and spent the night there. Now I got my shower and tried to relax, stretch out, and sleep. I didn't sleep good. It was refreshing to be able to get some rest at all. I got back to the hospital the next morning. They said he had developed C. diff. And I'm sure a lot of you have heard of it. I can't start to tell you exactly what it stands for, but it's very contagious. You had to suit up to go in his room, and they let me suit up, and I was in there too. They had put him back in a private room again. He was progressing well on his kidney. Still didn't need dialysis, and they kept saying the kidney was working beautifully. On Tuesday, the next day, I back down to the main street of town and just walked through there and had lunch there. So it was about the only outings I was getting there. And after he had gotten over and they said he was okay, I got to sleep back in the lobby again. What little sleep I got. So still wandering around the lobby. I know that's probably all you're hearing me say this time. On Wednesday, I was back in the lighted lobby again, sleeping. And I ventured out into downtown again, and I found a wonderful bakery and had coffee and just walked around for a little while. Most of the time I was sitting in his room, playing nurse to whatever the doctors and the nurses or whoever couldn't help him. I've done that a lot of times in my life, and always a pleasure. Then I was able to sleep in his room again. He was by himself again, and this time I got to sleep on a couple chairs. I think I spread them out. Not the best sleep. Thursday, it was time to get ready to come home. They said he had progressed and he was doing good enough that he could come home. I knew that I couldn't drive in San Francisco. I never had driven in big cities before, wasn't comfortable with it. I was a very nervous driver, sad to tell you. I am better, way better now, but I still wouldn't want to go to San Francisco or even some of the other bigger cities around and drive. I will drive in my area, and I'll drive up in the mountains, but I don't like to drive in the city. Richard drove there, and so our car was sitting there, and we knew we had to get home. So I just wrote on Facebook. I asked, is there anyone of my friends that is available to come to San Francisco? 2 drivers, both of you being able to drive in San Francisco, and would take us home. And it wasn't long at all. And our dear friend, Arceli, you met her. She's the one that showed us how to make the accordion books. She said, oh yeah, we'll come. Miss Sandy and Arceli drove to San Francisco, picked us up, and brought us home. What a blessing that was. We had other friends that would have done it had we asked them outright, or, there's so many reasons people can't go and do something like that. Next time, my story will be telling you what Richard remembers while he was having his transplant. He's always said this, and I have no reason not to believe him. So I hope you enjoyed that. I know it was a lot of me wandering around the hospital, and God was with him. He didn't have to have dialysis. The kidney worked. And fast forward, that kidney lasted 12 years. Hope you enjoyed that. I hope you'll come back for Marvelous Monday tomorrow. Check back on my other videos if you would. And I pray God blesses you. You know, Jesus was with us this whole time. You know, the doctors did their job, but it was Jesus that did the healing. Come back again. God bless you so much. And I'll look forward tomorrow to see you.